What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out this channel. It truly does. So thank you so much, and let's get involved with today's stories. Much love, guys. This story comes from a throwaway account, and it does have an update which we'll follow after the comments. So it's called, Am I the arsehole for being upset with my husband for using my bonus on him? I'm not sure how to do this, or if this is the right community. I would like some objective third party I put for my current situation, as I am at a loss. Sorry if the layout of this is off, I am on mobile. History: my husband 28 male and I 27 female have been married for about 4 years now. We dated in college and got married after. He finished college with a finance degree and thought he would go into accounting. Well, he quickly found out that was not his passion, so he bounced around jobs and ideas, business teacher, lawyer, but nothing really kept him saying this is what I want to do. This was pre-COVID. Since COVID, he has not attempted anything. He says after the pandemic there will be a boom in jobs and he can find something that he's passionate about. I've been working full time, and thankfully my job became remote and pays the bills while keeping food on the table. Incident in question. After the fiscal year closed, my work had done really well. We're selling medical testing equipment, so it was a big product of 2020. I was given a promotion, I got a little pay raise and a small bonus. I was really excited because I could finally repair my purse and replace my shoes. My friend's puppy destroyed, but I acknowledged that I should not have left my purse on a low stool in front of the puppy's bed. So my fault. I was so excited to tell my husband, but he seemed more excited than me over this promotion. He started going off how he could redo his game area and get the new systems, since he was tired of his others, and I was dumbfounded. I got really quiet because I almost could not believe what he was saying. He eventually goes out and gets himself a new system, chair and mouse. He had basically spent my bonus. I was so upset and ultimately hurt and numb. We ended up getting into an argument, and he called me selfish for not being happy that he got to achieve his dream, and I am spoilt for being upset I couldn't spend this money on me first. I basically called him an ungrateful arsehole and asked why does he deserve new stuff when I have been providing. He got really quiet on that one and stormed out saying he would be staying with his family, only about an hour away. I've been getting angry calls and texts due to the fact he didn't feel supported in his own home. And if I'm making the money, I can get whatever I want when I want, and I shouldn't throw it in his face when he doesn't have an income. Which is not true. I'm trying to keep a roof over our head and food on the table. All of his friends and family think I way overreacted to something that makes my husband happy, and that the next time we get a large sum of money, my husband said he would let me repair my purse. I haven't responded and don't think I will for a few days, but I've gotten so many "you're such a bitch" and "the arsehole," I started wondering if I really am. And there is a small sort of edit on this one before the main edit, so we'll cover that straight away, which says, wow, thank you everyone. I was not expecting this kind of support. I appreciate all the kind messages and compassion. This is more than I've ever felt in my life, so thank you, Reddit. I took the weekend to reflect on what I want and read through the comments and messages. I see your point that I can't keep treating this like a marriage if he doesn't. So here's to today and my first step towards freedom. I'm separating the finances immediately and contacting a local lawyer to see my options and rights, as well as a therapy options for him. I will present this to him and he gets to choose. But I refuse to baby an almost 30-year-old. If he wants that, well, he has his mother. Thank you everyone, I will try to update in the future. It's one of these ones that I try to get into their position and what they may be thinking, what their husband was thinking to, think they're entitled immediately to someone else's bonus. I just can't get that into my head. I know there's much deeper things at play here, but I'm struggling with that initially. Trying to picture myself sat there not bringing anything to the household, and then wife brings home a bonus that she's very excited about, and then thinking, oh, that's an opportunity to get myself a new computer, mouse and chair. There's just no way that would ever cross my mind. And I'm trying to think, maybe husband is going through some deeper stuff right now because, he hasn't got his job. He's been locked down for X amount of time, but I still can't see myself doing that. But we'll start off with Buffalo Bills Girl 76 saying, not the arsehole. As someone who's been in a relationship with this type of person, lawyers can be found on Google. Then there's a couple of edits followed by, OP, please leave. I promise it will hurt at first. You'll be scared as hell, but you're going to have a better life because of it. You don't want a child brought up thinking this is okay. And Stream Angler says, not the arsehole, he is selfish and entitled. I will start separating your finances to protect your future self. Not saying you will split or should split, but this is reckless. And Lucid Outwork says, not the arsehole, I'm in a similar situation. I make 95% of our household income. I got a large bonus last March. I earned that bonus by working my butt off and doing a great job. There wasn't even a question about it, that money was mine. So I brought a new car with it. Husband helped me pick it out. Why should your husband spend money you earned as a bonus without a discussion? How the hell is he entitled to use it for new toys for himself? He is the one who is selfish and unsupportive. And Miss Sophia Brown says, not the arsehole, and he's trying to manipulate you into feeling bad, rather than taking responsibility for his shitty actions. You clean the house and make the money. What does he bring to your relationship? What he's done is unacceptable, childish, and selfish. I'd return his new toys and tell him to stay at his parents until he gets a clue about adult life. I'm not saying divorce him, but do not let this slide even an inch. Do not give in to his gaslighting. You are right, there is no argument in the world that he can make to justify his behaviour. And now, let's check out the update. Hello Reddit, it's been a couple of months since my last post and so much has happened. I first want to thank everyone who reached out and snapped me out of this daze with my soon-to-be ex. He was extremely toxic and just made me feel not even worth anything. That's probably why it was so hard to see he wasn't it. So I want to thank everyone who offered words of encouragement and even the tough love. I needed to hear it. After he went back to his parents, he was waiting for my apology, which I never did, and when he noticed I drained our joint bank, he escalated saying I was his and how I could never leave him and that he owned me. All of my success was his, and without him, I'd be a loser dropout. His family was even worse because I had already blocked them, so they started making fake accounts and using apps to hide their number to harass me. Saying I ruined their son's life and how he sacrificed everything to get me where I am. To throw him to the side like this was disgusting and I deserved to rot. I provided all this to my lawyer, who recommended I take a restraining order in case he wanted to escalate further, and to not engage ever but just keep the records. This has caused my anxiety to go through the roof, and I am working on this with my therapist. I have separated the finances completely and changed my banks. Even told them my soon-to-be ex is never allowed to access these accounts because he would take it all and run. I have changed my number and gone completely social media-less. Besides this, part of me is broken that our marriage came to an end over a computer. I keep thinking I am stupid and how I couldn't see the warning signs. I must be looking like a fool to everyone. All in all, I'm slowly picking up the pieces of my life and figuring out how to move forward. Thank you to everyone still reading this, and thank you to everyone who helped me get here. And OP, if you ever do get to see this, your marriage didn't come to an end because of a computer, it became to an end because of an entitled asshole. End of. Now let's move on to the next one. And we have another story that follows with an update as well. And it's from Anonymous Octopus saying, would I be the arsehole if I told my co-worker I'm keeping the snail I fostered for her daughter? I know this is probably a stupid thing to care about, but I can't help it. I got attached to the guy. It started back in January 2021. My co-worker came to me because she knew I had experience with exotic pets, fish, various reptiles. Her 18-year-old daughter ran away and moved several states away suddenly and left her snail behind. She asked me if I could take care of the thing because she was too busy to remember maintenance. I said sure. Before she brought him to me, I had a conversation with my co-worker. I said, just so I'm clear, am I just fostering the snail for your daughter to get back soon, or am I adopting him? Because I will find a way to get attached to the snail and I want to know where to keep my expectations. And then I laughed. She said, it's whatever you want it to be. If you'd rather keep him, just keep him. If you want to unload him back when she's back in town, I'll tell her she has to take him back. You have him. I replied, okay, I'll adopt him then. I've always wanted a pet snail. I get the snail and it's in poor condition. Hibernating due to poor enclosure conditions, moldy food in its dish, dirt from the outside. This is a huge no-no, especially because I don't think it was sterilized first. And lots of hard objects for him to fall on and possibly break his shell. I had an old 10-gallon aquarium, so I bought the appropriate decor and substrate, about $50 worth of decor. Got his temp and humidity up, and he woke up and has been happy ever since. That was all in the beginning of January, like the 5th or something. Last week, my co-worker told me her daughter is coming back to town in June and she wants her snail back. She saw the enclosure I made for him and wants to know what I use so she can do the same for him. I was shocked that she brought it up at all, and this is where I may be the arsehole, said I'll just give her the whole enclosure if she wants him back. It was so surprising to me in the moment, I thought maybe the right thing to do was to give him back. I didn't know what else to say. Now, I've been thinking about it and I don't feel like it's fair to give him back. I was told it was my decision, I could adopt him if I wanted, and now her daughter wants him back, now she's seen he's doing better. I don't know, I just feel weird about it. Maybe my co-worker didn't consult with her daughter when she said I could have him, but I don't know what to do about it. Would I be the arsehole if I tell my co-worker I'm not giving him back? How do you go about even having a conversation like that? After I knee-jerk reacted and said I'd give him back, I don't want to cause hostility with my co-worker. And we'll start with Oz Ronin saying, not the arsehole, but I feel like you've dug yourself a bit of a hole that will end up with someone being pretty annoyed at you if you don't follow through. And Young Lusker says, not the arsehole, if you give the snail back you'll be condemning the poor thing. She probably have no idea how to take care of one, considering the fact it was in poor condition when you first saw it. Be honest with the girl's mother, tell her you believe the snail will live in a better condition if you take care of it instead of her, and explain to her now how the snail didn't even have a good enclosure conditions in the first place. Old and Rash says, not the arsehole, it was agreed upon that you would be adopting the snail when your co-worker gave you the option to adopt or foster. They should have informed their daughter that you'd be keeping the snail. They're the arseholes for expecting you to willingly give the snail back after being told you could keep it. You did dig a bit of a hole when you said when you give back the snail and the enclosure, but you can still stand your ground. I suggest just being straightforward and letting your co-worker know you've gained attachment to the snail, have spent quite a bit of money on it to keep it healthy, and that it was originally agreed upon that the snail was yours to keep. Also, I wouldn't give the snail back either. Whether I grew attached or not, their daughter clearly isn't responsible enough to take care of it. And now, let's head on over to the update to see what that says. I wanted to update my first post since so many people seem to be concerned about the snail in question. After reading and replying to as many replies as I could, telling me to be honest with my co-worker and to not return the snail, I decided to take that advice and did just that. Yesterday I spoke with her and explained that the snail was in poor condition when he arrived in my care, and how much time, energy and money I spent to make sure he was taken care of. I also reminded her of our first conversation, where I explicitly asked if this was a temporary adoption or a permanent rehoming, because I would get attached to the snail if given the chance, and she told me it was my choice and assured me her daughter didn't care. She was super understanding. She was actually surprised with my knee-jerk response that I would return the snail without any hesitation, and said she doesn't think her daughter is attached to the snail particularly, just that she wants a pet snail to take care of. So I told her I'd rustle up a spare tank and decor and make her daughter an awesome enclosure for the next snail, along with a care sheet and websites to research in case she had any questions. My co-worker was pleased with this and seemed to think her daughter would be too. Anyway, I know this is probably a dumb problem for most people, but it ended up being a happy ending, and I get to keep taking care of my little guy forever, as well as make sure any future snails in my co-worker's daughter's care end up being well taken care of. Thanks to everyone who participated in my last post. I really appreciated all the advice, and it was just the push I needed to have the awkward conversation in the first place. No feelings are hurt, and everything worked out. And here's the snail tax. Oh. I was expecting one of those big giant snails, but that's a pretty cute little snail, isn't it? Oh, that's lovely. As snails go, right? An edit says, his original name is Nari. Nari or Nari? But it's never really felt like his name to me. I'm open to a new name suggestions while I poke around for a better one. Edit 3, my goodness, I'm trying best to keep up with all the comments, but I just want to thank everyone once and for all the kind words, well wishes and compliments for my dapper guy. I had no idea this many people would care about him. This is one of the most wholesome things I've been involved with in a long time. He sure is one loved snail. Call him Reddit, or call him Waffle. Now let's move on to the next story. And seeing as we're on updates today, this is another update story. Why the hell not, right? Am I the arsehole for not helping my brother after he broke his leg? Okay, so the title makes me sound awful, but hear me out. I've been sick for a month, but no one knows what it is. Thankfully not COVID. Basically, I'm in bed sleeping most of the day, and when I'm not sleeping, I'm exhausted. Walking down one flight of stairs can feel like I've just been rock climbing. I've had blood tests for anything that would match the symptoms, but nothing came up abnormal. My 17 female brother, 23 male, broke his leg about a week ago, trying to prove he could jump downstairs. Because his case is urgent, he needs surgery to join a piece of the bone, most of the focus has been on him, so I'm alone for most of the day, unless I have friends come over to help with catching up schoolwork. So I've gotten pretty depressed, and that has in turn made me feel worse. The last week since he broke his leg, he's been making a lot of jokes about how I might have cancer / a brain tumour, which has definitely freaked me out, and our parents put it down to him being frustrated. Whenever we're in the same room and exhausted myself, which can include me having to sit down where I am, including the floor, even if I'm near a chair, he'll ask me to get things for him / clear things for him. Our parents have obviously been doting on him, and they're usually in the room and happy to help him, but he wants me to do it. This can lead to me exhausting myself getting him things at lunch and being too tired to eat. After a week, I'm just done. I'm avoiding him so I don't have to do things for him, even if it means he has to wait until someone is free. And I feel like a bit of an arsehole because he needs crutches to get around, so he has a harder time than me reaching or opening things. It also sucks that when my friends are over, he interrupts us while we're studying. I have about 2 hours a day of energy to study, and will tease me by insulting me or calling me lazy / saying I'm expendable because I'm the third child, who cares if it's serious. I've been lectured by our parents and told to be nicer and more considerate, and since I have energy bursts, I'm not really that sick anymore. I feel like I'm in the right to not help him, but it feels a bit like revenge. Am I the arsehole? And we'll start with Tuscany Lover saying, sorry OP, your brother and parents are treating you very badly. Using crutches at 24 is not a big deal. Teasing you that you can have brain cancer, on the contrary, it is. Stand up for yourself and go see your GP until you figure out what's going on with your lack of energy. Not the arsehole. And Costa95 says, not the arsehole. I think that with all the help given to others, it must be done from stable footing. Take the time you need to recover and pitch in at a level that you can manage without kneecapping yourself too much. At the end of the day, it was their mistake jumping. They have crutches to get around. They can manage almost every task, just a bit slower. Nobody dies if you take your time for yourself. Try to shut out the feeling of familial obligation. Also, those comments from them tip this to an not the arsehole. Had they kept their mouth shut, this would simply be no one's an arsehole here, and some advice for you to enact a bit of self-care. And El Saxo says, not the arsehole, your brother could be more considerate too. Using crutches is not an excuse to be inconsiderate. Followed by, I don't know what to write here saying, not the arsehole, OP, your brother is being really shitty. I dealt with something similar to what you described, ended up being mono and double pneumonia, and my parents expected me to go to school and that's it. We didn't know about the pneumonia at the time. As soon as we know, I didn't go to school until I was better. It was awful, just trying to stay alive basically. Your brother has a broken leg, that sucks, but he's expecting you to do everything, even with your parents right there. That's messed up. And now let's have a look at the update to see what that says. So while I doubt anyone wants or needs an update, people were so nice and helpful when I wrote originally, I wanted to update. I ended up being hospitalized for a bit and being given 2 possible diagnoses, and was told to just wait till I get better, though it might take a few months. My issue with my brother and parents weren't solved, but honestly, I think until I can move out and distance myself and stop being dependent, things aren't going to get better. They're always going to be a clear favourite, and honestly, I'm coming to terms with being okay with that. I've talked with my older sister, and we both kind of agreed that he's burned his bridges and we need to look out for ourselves more than we look out for him. He was really hurt by the fact that we're way closer and ostracized him a bit, but after he threatened and cursed at both of us, I'm surprised he didn't see it coming. Plus our dog now prefers to play with me rather than with my brother, which I know is petty, but it makes me happy, even if it's cruel happiness that he doesn't get everything he wants, and that there are repercussions to his actions. So I'd say all's well that ends well, even if it's not well and hasn't ended, because I'm looking forward to the future. I'm planning with friends, so I'm out the house more, and I get to subtly brag I have friends, because he keeps saying I'm a horrible person who manipulates people into being my friend. And since I've told them, they've started disliking him too, so I don't feel uncomfortable with him trying to convince my friends they should be his friends and not mine, which is also uncomfortable because of the age gap. So thanks to the people who commented originally. Without it, I probably wouldn't have pushed so hard to follow my doctor's recommendation and go to the hospital, and I wouldn't have stood up to my family. Wow, what a turnaround in that one. And it's one of those ones that, isn't a totally positive ending, but it gives a positive future for OP, if that makes any sense. Yes. But what do you guys think of today's stories with updates? What would your verdicts would have been? What would you have done in those situations? Let me know in the comments below if you choose to. Don't feel pressure to do so though, only if you want to. And just a huge thank you for spending 20 minutes or so out of your day with me, listening to some stories and just getting involved with the channel. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for what you do. If you want to support the channel further, you absolutely can. But again, no pressure to do so by clicking that join button down below for YouTube or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. Thank you so much for your love, support and time, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop work is life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city. I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city.